Hey, welcome back to the channel, my fellow weather junkies. I'm your host, Greg Majeski, your personal weatherman, bringing you the weather without all that social media hype here on your Tuesday, October 1st, 2024. Now, before we get into all this right for today, I want to go ahead and give you this QC code here if you want to scan this or if you want to check the link I'm going to put down below. We have all seen the devastation done by Hurricane Helene, and if you'd like to make a donation, please donate to the American Red Cross. Obviously, we had hundreds of deaths. So one of the most historic storms hit the continental United States in quite some time. So please consider making a donation to the American Red Cross. All right, let's go take a look at today's headlines here for today as we're looking at an eastern cool shot. It's still tracking that as we go into next week. But as the east is going to be cool, most of the west are going to be sizzling, that's for sure, especially as we go into this upcoming weekend. And we're still staying very active in the tropics. In fact, we could be dealing with some dueling major hurricanes. We'll kind of get into the specifics on that here in just a second. And oh, by the way, today happens to be our 1-year anniversary, our first birthday, I guess you can call it, here on October 1st. We started last year on this date. And again, we'd like to welcome everybody along for the ride here on the channel. And if you haven't subscribed just yet, please consider hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you learn on future content. And if you enjoyed this report, again, please leave a comment down below, give me a thumbs up. I do appreciate your support here on our channel. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at our current satellite imagery. We got a few clouds down here across Alabama, Georgia. This should kick on out. We got that little disturbance down out in the Gulf of Mexico. Here we go. Get rid of this stuff. This is the leftover clouds here from Helene getting on out of here. Pretty quiet across most of the country. Got a weak system up here toward the north, right along the Canadian border right there. Look at these temperatures over here in the 30s. Got a lot of their first frost out here across the high plains, 32 degrees. Look at that up there in Montana. Pretty cool up there as this frontal system's moving on through. Pretty mild here out ahead of it. Again, got the rain showers here near the Maryland and areas of Pennsylvania for this morning. In fact, we're going to take a closer look here. We got some rain here south of Lewistown and near Hagerstown, just off toward the east near Frederick. Getting some showers that may move into the D.C. area a little bit later for this morning. Now, as far as our national watches and warnings concerned, we got a couple pockets of obviously some fog there with some of the gray there. And here's some of those freeze warnings that are out here in the west. And then we do have the heat. Yeah, we got some heat advisories out here in the west and California as well for today. So definitely kind of a transition as we're starting to see the seasons begin to change. And speaking of seasons changing, let's talk about Moosehead Lake, Maine. I was noticing the color showing up here on this camera here for today. Definitely a fall-like day there. It's going to be partly cloudy skies here for this afternoon for our weather city of the day. And a high today of 64 degrees. And hey, if you'd like to consider your city as the weather city of the day and you know of a good webcam in your area, perhaps on YouTube or some other source, please consider posting that link down below and we'll consider it for a future broadcast. All right, let's go ahead and transition over. We're going to take a look at what the Source Prediction Center has got to show for us here for the next 3 days. And looks like it's going to be fairly much on the quiet side. We still have some pockets of thunderstorms around, but I just don't think it's going to be too big a deal. So let's go ahead and check this out. We'll go ahead and step through this here, and you're going to notice we do get a few pockets we got to watch there, as we got some of there around the Great Lakes. We got some exiting there near the Carolina coastline, Florida getting some action, and some action down here in Arizona as well here for today for your day one outlook. Let's take a look at your day two outlook, see if that changes much. Nope, looks like it's just going to be pretty much Florida getting in on the action down there with just a general thunderstorm threat. And then your day three, not much of a change here, maybe a little more of the Gulf Coast getting in on the action. Yep, as you can see there on the day three, taking you right along the Gulf Coast over toward near New Orleans and back over toward Miami with, again, just a general thunderstorm threat. So at least for Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, no expectations for severe weather across the country, and that's a good thing. We deserve a break, and I think we're going to get that here for the next few days. Now, with that being said, we still have a couple of pockets, and this is just for today, of some heavy downpours across central Florida, and they're exiting off the Virginia and the Carolina coast. That's the leftovers of Helene getting out of there. But after today, guess what? We get to say goodbye to that, and we'll see some improvement there for sure. Now, as far as our 3 to 7 day hazard, one thing you're going to notice with this map is we do have a couple of areas of concern. Obviously, boy, look at all that purple in there. This is obviously we're making our transition. We're starting to see that colder temperatures getting here, those first frost and freeze impacting the northern states. About timing, we're getting into early October now. Do have a couple of hot pockets here across areas of south into southern portions of California, Arizona, and getting back over towards South Florida as well. So again, it's definitely that tale of two seasons across the United States, depending on which season you prefer. You like the hot weather or do you prefer the cold weather coming in across the northern tier of the states? All right, we're getting into the tail end or moving toward the tail end of the hurricane season. We're getting in October. We still got the whole month to go through October, November, 2 more months to go. And we've got Kirk out there right now that's getting spun up. And it looks like we got Leslie coming out on its backside as well, as we're going to be looking at some very active weather here out in the tropics still continuing. So we finally said goodbye to Joyce. It's dissipated and gone bye-bye. So we've got Kirk out there, probably going to get Leslie that's going to form behind it. So we're going to have two different potential hurricanes to watch there. And of course, we're still watching that area out into the portions of getting into the Gulf of Mexico. But right now, the probabilities of that being a significant system are pretty low. It may enhance the rain chances there, especially across Florida. But right now, not expecting anything major. Forget anything there, maybe depression or a tropical storm, but not expecting a hurricane. Boy, there's a lot of social media stuff that was going around on that yesterday, and that we don't have to worry about. Let's go ahead and take a look at your satellite imagery here. This is a little dated. The NOAA site's having some problems, but they're doing some updates right now. But this is what's left over of Joyce. It's getting on out of here. Here is going to be Hurricane Kirk here later today, and this is our other system back behind here. That'll likely be Leslie, and of course we got our little disturbance there in the Gulf, and we're still watching for some more activity there in the Caribbean to form over the next few days. So a few things to kind of watch there as we go into the next 7 days or so. So let's look at Tropical Storm Kirk, which is again expected to become a hurricane sometime later today, and then it may eventually a major hurricane. Even sooner was showing yesterday. Yesterday it was saying Friday. Now it's saying Thursday becomes a major hurricane. So this is going to curl out into the middle of the Atlantic. What has me a little concerned, just kind of watching this, is that Mitch is going to go out up to the north, but the ensembles take the one system behind it and actually curves it to the west. So I'm going to watch this very closely. So let me go ahead and get you through this real quick. I'm going to stop this and watch as we go ahead and transition through this. So we're watching several areas there of disturbed weather that we're going to be watching. Okay, obviously we're watching stuff here out into the middle of the Atlantic. Those two big systems out there. Obviously, this is going to be Kirk. This is going to be Leslie, and this is that disturbance out into the Gulf of Mexico. Now, one thing you're going to notice about the disturbance there on the southern part, south of Kirk, is it's further south, so it's got a better chance of moving to the west than say Kirk, which is further north. So let me go ahead and track you this forward again. Watch the ensemble model here as it kind of moves on. Kirk goes out in the middle of the Atlantic. We're still not sure what's going to happen with that system out in the Gulf. It's kind of all over the place with its model guidance there. And there goes Kirk going this way. So it curves on up. But then what happens with Leslie? There are some models that do curve what's going to be Leslie off toward the north. But then there's some other models that go ahead and continue it, moving it to the west. Let me back that up again. Back to this last point here. Again, we can go all the way here to the end, and you see it just kind of going all the way forward, and it's just kind of a split. So we're gonna have to wait and see what exactly this is going to do. Are we gonna see something that's going to continue on to the west in this direction, or is it going to make the turn out like the other system did? So we got to watch that closely, because if it stays on the southern trajectory, then it's just a timing issue whether it gets deflected out to sea by a trough in the east, or does it make it over to the East Coast? So stay tuned. We're not done with hurricane season, so we're going to watch that system there. We got a long time to watch that and see how that comes to fruition or not. So let's go ahead and look at the tropics. We'll look at the European model here first as we go ahead and take a look at this. As I go ahead and drag you through this, again, you're going to see those systems kind of pick on up. So we got the two systems there as we head into this upcoming weekend. There we're probably going to have two hurricanes here. Here's one. Here's the other. So there's Kirk and there's Leslie out there. Right now, not showing anything developing out into the Gulf. Notice we don't have anything showing there popping up. Here toward the end, it kind of does a little bit, and it just kind of meanders there. But we've got those two systems out there, and it kind of pulls off. And this kind of still holds us up. So the European model is going with a solution that says Leslie is not going to stay south, and it's going to get picked up and make a turn. So that's saying it's going to move this way and then kind of move up to the north, just like the other one did. So I think that's probably the most likely solution there. It really kind of depends on just what latitude it's at. If it stays too far south, it misses those westerlies. It can undercut it and continue on to the west. But if it's too far north, as most of the systems have been in the Atlantic this year, I think it makes that turn and goes on out to sea. But we'll watch that closely and see how that works out for us. Let's look at the jet stream here across the continental United States here. Again, that's that river air that drives the weather systems across the country here. This is what's giving us a little cool shot here across the high plains right now. It's just a glancing blow, really. But as we go into this upcoming weekend, where things are going to stay pretty flat across the country. This is clearly a zonal flow. One thing you will notice here is starting to see a little bit of that subtropical jet start to show up there. So we got two separate jet streams here kind of flowing across the country, which is as we make that transition in the fall, we got to watch both jet streams, especially when they come into what we call phase, when they synchronize up. That's when you get your big storm systems there. But right now, they're definitely not together there. As we go through this weekend, things look pretty quiet, but it looks like we still got a nice little push here of some cool air coming down across the east as we head toward Monday of next week. So the southeast, the Midwest looks like they cool off, but ridging air in the west means it's going to be baking. It's going to be hot out in the west in response to that ridge there and the trough there in the east. So this goes to pull on off, and then that little reinforcing shot looks like another one kind of comes in behind this one. So the trend here is going to be for the east to kind of stay a bit on the cool side, but the west definitely going to stay on the hot side, heading toward the middle of next week, going toward, say, the 10th, going in toward next Thursday, going into Thursday. All right, let's go ahead and take a look here at the precipitation and the lack thereof across most of the country. Now, climatologically speaking, October is a transition month, so we don't have any major storm systems here. In fact, it stays pretty quiet and pretty dry for most of the country, except when we get toward the end of this model run. We do see a storm system. This is going to be the one that's going to bring in that cool shot here down here. And we'll see something's kind of develop here to impact the rains there. We're also going to be watching down here out in the Gulf as the rain fall amounts will be pretty significant out there and across Florida as well. So watch as we go to the end of this model run here as we get some pretty good rains. A little low starts to form off the coast there as we head toward Monday. So some pretty good rains here across New England, rains down here across the south. A little bit of activity out here on the west coast, but not that bad. Again, this is late in the day on your Monday, on your October the 7th there on that. And then as we take this all the way out, that little pulls on out, and we've still got the rains there across South Florida. And most of the country pretty quiet at this point, so that's pretty good that we got that going on for right now. All right, let's go ahead and take a look right now at the precipitation. We do have a couple of hot zones here precipitation-wise, but nothing for the most part. We're clearing the leftover rains there from Helene. This is the leftover rains from Helene here following here over the next couple of days. And still looking at some action down there in Florida. But as we go ahead and progress this on through, boy, the Gulf really gets a lot of rain in this period, which is good. It cools those waters off. That rain over a big part of the Gulf of Mexico sees a lot of rain. That'll cool the temperatures off and, allow to take a little bit of that power source away from those potential hurricanes. But we got a pretty good swath of rain at a couple of zones I do want to highlight here. We'll start in the northeast as we're looking at rainfall totals up here. Again, showing pretty substantial. I mean, looking at 5-6 here across some of the interior sections of Massachusetts into New York, southern portions of Vermont, getting into on the action there. So some pretty heavy rains there. And then the other area of concern obviously is down towards South Florida, as we're going to be seeing some pretty heavy rains down here as well, upwards of 9-10 inches there across South Florida. So some flooding potentials there. Just some residual rains in here, not too much across portions of Georgia and the Carolinas, but definitely South Florida and also looking up toward the northeast as well over that period. All right, let's look at the temperatures here as we do have a couple of things that are cooling off here over the period. You got that one little cold front coming in here for this weekend, so you got a little bit of a cool down here going into Thursday, just a little pocket, but very, very warm out here most of the west, a little cooler out here on the west coast going into your Thursday of this week. But as we progress on through, what we're going to be watching is that bigger cool that's going to be coming down here after the weekend, going into Saturday and into Sunday. So Sunday, and here it comes. You start seeing it start showing its head here across the high plains. This is going to kind of come in down here toward the south, and but keeping it very hot out here in the west, especially across the interior sections of California. Very warm indeed as we head into your Sunday and Monday. And here comes the cool shot. Boom, that looks so nice. That's going to look very nice. Tuesday morning, feeling very comfortable here with below normal temperatures across the Midwest and the Southeast. But we're going to bake here in the West. Yeah, staying pretty hot from Montana down toward Arizona, most of the interior sections of the country there in your Tuesday morning. And as we go out into Wednesday, still kind of holding that true across the eastern third of the United States. But looks like the most two-thirds of the country looking at above normal temperatures. And then, of course, the end of this run, this starts to modify just a little bit, but very, very warm out here across the high Rockies and across the west here as we go into the middle of next week. So with that said, let's see what the climate outlook has to say about all this, see if it lines up with what the European there is showing. So we're going to take a look at the 6 to 10 day outlook here as temperatures are expected to be pretty much near normal here, but still expecting that heat out west from the 6th through the 10th. And as we look at your 8th through the 14th, again, very, very warm out here in the west, near normal here across the east here from days 8th through the 14th, and pretty dry here as well. Look how dry it is here across 2/3 of the country, except for the southeast. Obviously, you get that tropical influence there with the European showing a little bit of disturbance there out of the Gulf of Mexico. And that kind of hangs on here from October 8th through the 14th. But most of the country looking very dry. Again, not unusual. October's typically a dry month for most of the country, but looking pretty dry here as we go from the 8th through the 14th. So things not looking too bad. We're going to, again, watch the tropics. We're going to see what happens with that next system, as I'm expecting probably 2 major hurricanes out in the middle of the Atlantic. We're going to have to watch there closely. Kirk, I'm not worried about. It's the Leslie storm to see, does it stay south? It's something we got to track. Does it make it to the East Coast, or does it curve more back out to sea? We'll watch that closely here over the coming days. Hey, now yours truly, I got to go down to Florida here for a couple days to take care of my mother. I got to do a couple things with her, so won't be a daily for tomorrow and for Thursday. We'll be back on Friday with your daily on Friday. So I'll be out of the loop for a couple of days. But I will continue to monitor and do some shorts updates as needed as I continue to watch the tropics here, and I'll do those manually from my phone. All right, that's your update for now. Again, if you haven't subscribed yet to the channel, please do so. Hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so you're alerted on future content. And if you got any feedback, any questions, again, post that down below. I'll be more than happy to help you to answer your questions. And again, it's our 1-year birthday. All right, didn't think we'd make it, but we did. All right, you guys take it easy, be good, stay safe, and we'll see you next time. Bye, guys.